Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. We're continuing our run of X Factor, and we're looking at X Factor number 8 from 1986, part of Marvel's 25th anniversary. Marc Silvestri, the great Marc Silvestri, does the cover and he provides the breakdowns on the inside. And I believe this is the first appearance of Skids. And we have Rusty here, and of course, it says Freedom Force wants them, X Factor wants them, but Rusty and Kid and Skids just want out. So, all right, we are inching our way into the Mutant Massacre saga, which will start in X Factor 10 and Uncanny X-Men 211. So, we're getting there. All right. So, we start with X Factor cleaning up after issue 7, so the last issue where we had the that radioactive mutant glowworm. So Cyclops and Jean Grey are kind of getting it ready, getting all that stuff out of the way. So Lost and Found is our title of our story, and Louise Simonson is the writer. Marc Silvestri is providing the breakdowns, and Josef Rubinstein is providing the finishes. So, essentially, what that means in comic book terms is pretty much that. Marc Silvestri is providing a rough breakdown of where all the action is, and Josef Rubinstein is essentially sort of going over and completing the image. So, Silvestri may have a couple gesture drawings, and Rubinstein is cleaning them up. So, and so they were talking about trying to help them, but they just couldn't. And Cyclops is saying, "I wish X Factor could have helped them too, Jean. They were dying, but." And then she finishes, "They were too dangerous to have around, and at least they were dying together. Jean, we could." And so, remember last issue she found out that Cyclops has been married, so she's not exactly being forth. She's not being too nice to him, and he doesn't deserve it. Cyclops is a jerk. They really turned him into kind of a jerky guy here. Could what, Scott? You have a wife now, remember? Listen, I understand, really. You were lovers, but you thought I died. Everyone did. As she drops the telekinetic. By the way, I do have a playlist. I've covered X Factor from the very beginning, starting with issue number 1. Actually, I went before that and covered the prequels on Avengers and Fantastic Four, so check them out if you'd like. I also have playlist with the Chris Claremont's run of Uncanny X-Men, and we're doing everything in reading order, so we're going and flipping through. So New Mutants are in there, Wolverine limited series is in there, and everything is entered in order in the X Universe playlist, so check that out. And so Jean Grey continues, I'd have wanted you to get on with your life. How can I blame you now? And she says, do you have a picture of her? Of Maddie? No, dumbass. Sure, here. And so, you have a baby too, a little girl? And he says, a boy. I didn't know. I always thought we'd have a girl. God, he didn't tell her about the kid either, and they just kind of nonchalantly, hey, I have a wife. Oh, by the way, I have a kid too. Goodness gracious, Cyclops. All right. He's a sweet little, and that's Maddie. She looks a lot like me. And he says, she could have been you. And of course, we now know she's a clone, but we haven't discovered that yet. But We do know that she's a clone of Jean Grey. Scott, don't torture us both like this. She's your wife. How can you just walk out on her? How can you abandon her own son? You tell him, Jean Grey. Um, and so she says, the Scott I knew wouldn't have taken advantage. And he says, advantage? Oh, come on. You knew I couldn't read minds anymore, and you used it to keep your marriage secret from me. So, real quick, as she states in there, when she came back, her telekinetic powers are like through the roof. However, she no longer has telepathy. And Cyclops is like, Gene, I wanted to tell you. I tried. Oh, shut up, Cyclops. Oh, sure. If I hadn't figured it out myself, tricked the others into confirming what I feared, what I knew, what I wouldn't let myself believe, I'd still be throwing myself at you, and you'd be laughing your fool head off. You tell him, Jean Grey. Absolutely. Oh, and so above, they're watching the news here. So we have the Beast, we have Angel, we have Iceman, and this is Beast's girlfriend, and I forget what her name is, but she's telling everybody to be quiet because they're gonna interview her. And here comes her part, and Artie's pointing at the TV. Mutants, well, mainly they're sexy. Some of them are really sexy, you know. But you tell me your fantasies, Trish. I'll tell you mine. And Beast kind of laughs it off. Your fantasy. They're all about me, Vera. Look at her, guys. Is that star quality or what? And that Space Cadet rap. Brilliant. So. And so we use this to recap last issue. And of course, we don't need to because I have a playlist. Here comes Rusty. And of course, he has fire powers. And so he uses that. And they pop some popcorn here. And so, and then of course, X Factor comes out. And then we talk about Trish Tilby, and Trish Tilby and the Beast will have a relationship in the future. So that will come at another time here. So they continue talking about how Trish Tilby sensationalized the news, and then the mess that they made here, and they show it here. So Beast is getting kind of annoyed with Rusty and says, "Hey, it's time for your practice session." So Rusty and Artie leave. Of course, we get here an explanation of what X Factor does as Rusty and Artie talk. Well, really, Rusty talks. Artie can't talk, but how they help. They capture mutants, but really what they're doing is helping them control their powers here. So, and then outside, they hear Cameron Hodge here. He says, "Look at it. Look at it my way, Shelton. This was more than an attack on mutant hunters. It was a swipe at humankind." And I think that Simonson is putting in the idea for Cameron Hodge in the future. So mutants did this mess, and I don't see why X Factor should be asked to pay for repairs, especially when the X Factor drove the attackers away, even saved the city. And the guy says, "I sympathize with your perspective, Mr. Hodge, and though I personally admire your organization's goal, the mayor's position has to be." And Rusty says, "Yeah, Artie, that's Cameron Hodge, supposedly X Factor's public relation guy, and I guess he's saying us saving us money and getting great publicity for X Factor by presenting us mutants as menaces, but somehow it doesn't seem right." So Rusty departs from Artie here. And so they're training. I love Angel's red uniform here. It's too bad it was short lived because of what will be happening, but I really dug it. It's really cool. So it's my favorite version of Angel here. So he sees Jean Grey and gets distracted and runs into that snow cone. I like Iceman making his thing here. So and so he says, "I guess I should have been keeping my eye on the road, huh? After all, I already have a girlfriend." And Iceman is like Scott has a wife. Scott loved Jean long before he even met Maddie, Bobby. Me too. We all did, I guess. But we were kids then. Why am I so affected by her now? And Rusty says, because Jean's so beautiful, how could anybody not be? And then they look at each other, Angel and Iceman. I wish, but I guess I can never have a girlfriend. I couldn't trust myself. Not after the way my powers went out of control. The way I burned that woman in San Diego. And he's, of course, that happened in X Factor #1. And Angel says, oh no, the government's still after me for that. What if somebody recognized me on TV? And Iceman says, from that fuzzy image. And Angel says, pal, you've got nothing to worry about. All right. And so in the Pentagon here, this is Mystique who is impersonating Rusty Collins here. And Destiny says that he's connected to X Factor. So they need to go to New York and find find him. And then, of course, here we have Spiral. We have Spider Woman, the one from Secret Wars. We have the Blob. We have Avalanche, and we have Pyro. Now, why is everybody in their costumes? You ask. Good question. I mean, it's just funny. Just they never put them in hardly in regular clothes. They're just always wearing their costumes on. So, Spiral says he's scrawny. Spider-Man says he looks harmless. And Blob says, nah, he's a mutie and us muties ain't harmless, are we, Avalanche? And Avalanche says, we have our powers, Blob. Some, of course, are more dangerous than others. And so Mystique returns back to her shape. And she says, indeed, that's why we will continue to search through this tape frame by frame if necessary until we know for certain where whether Rusty Collins is with X Factor. And Avalanche says, I don't much like the idea of tracking down one of our own kind, Mystique. Oh, yeah, they do. They go after the X-Men all the time. And Blob says, but if we slam X Factor in the bargain, yeah, thrashing the mutant hunters would be. And Blob kicks the chair, causing Avalanche to fall. And so these two are gonna want to go at it here. Avalanche, I just wanted to show you how dangerous powers could be, and of course he controls the land, so he makes the chair go up, and he drops his sandwich, so that makes him mad here. And so Pyro is going to separate them both. Now Pyro can control flame, but he can't make it. That's why he has to wear these things here. And so as they're going at it, she creates a spell and they both go through here. So Mystique says, Blob, since you and Avalanche caused this destruction, the cost of repairing the room will be deducted from your salary. I suggest that you attend to the problem at hand. There's a bonus promised when we bring Rusty in, and you two are going to need the money badly. So, and so they are able to identify that this is Rusty, and Pyro thinks he's been brainwashed, and they even put the poster. So, all right, so Freedom Force is going to go get him. Of course, Freedom Force used to be the Brotherhood of Mutants, but they got pardons, and now they go after they work for the government, basically. So, all right, back in New York here. And so this part is really cool, kind of connecting the titles. Sorry to disturb your rest, but I just received a call from my contact at the mayor's office. A battle between mutant factions is being waged in Central Park. Some sort of robot may be involved. X Factor has been asked to make an appearance. I just covered that in Uncanny X-Men 209. As I mentioned, I have several playlists. Check it out. And Angel says, why, Cameron? If there's any real trouble, we might need to use our powers. And B says, if we show up as X Factor, our hands will be tied. And Cyclops says, and if we show up as the exterminators, we'll just be more evil mutants joining the fracas. And Iceman says, Scott's right, we have to go as X Factor. And Cameron uh, um, says, especially since the press is wondering why it took us so long to react yesterday and to blame us for the damage that was caused. And so Cyclops says, okay, people, we go as X Factor. Let's get dressed and make it snappy. So Angel sees Jean and says, hey, you haven't said a word to all of us. Hey, what's wrong? And she says, you all ganged up on me, uh, stuck together to keep Scott's marriage a secret. So tell me, what's wrong, Warren? You tell me what's the matter with all of you. Hey, good on you, Jean. It is about time. And so Angel kind of agrees with her and says, look, Jean, maybe it wasn't right, but we all felt like Scott had been cheated. If he'd even suspected you were alive, he'd have waited for you forever. And then she says, but he married Maddie instead. By the way, that total guy thing is crap. However, I will say this: neither Chris Claremont nor Simonson wanted the idea of Jean Grey being brought back was not theirs. They never would have handled it like this. So this is sort of what they ended up doing to the character. So it just, excuse me, I was drinking some soda. This is sort of what it is, and they're basically trying to now kind of deal with the repercussions of Scott abandoning his wife and kid. So Angel says, "Look, Jean, he loves you. Can you blame him for rushing to be with you?" Yeah. For being reluctant to tell you the truth since he meant he'd lose you all over again? Yeah. That's what adults do. And so I know we were wrong to wait. We should have told you, but. And she's like, no, Warren. And so Scott comes out and says, okay, people, let's. And then he thinks these two are starting to make a relationship. So he's like, thanks a lot, Warren. You could have at least waited till the corpse was cold. My God, dude, this guy's a jerk. So, and so, Rusty's agreeing to come with them, and he's like, you can see that Scott doesn't take too kindly to it and says, forget it, Rusty, you're staying here in the way. Listen, Rusty, even if he's acting like a jerk, someone might recognize you. And so and then he's like, are you telling me I can never go out again? I thought we'd worked this out before, but I guess I was wrong. So Rusty's gonna start to feel like a prisoner here. And so he says, man, it was great to be part of the team, but oopsie. But now I'm being cheated. And then Artie is like a psychic, and he projects messages, and he says that helicopters is after them, and they're being followed. And Artie says it's the bad guys, or at least he acts it. And so Rusty's like, well, we better tell Hodge. And so FF for Freedom Force. Look at Blob here. This is awesome. And so they're following X Factor here. And here comes Rusty and Artie, and says Artie was projecting the X Factor copter, and excuse me a moment, and he snaps at them. He's like, of all the Russos, I'm talking to the mayor, I won't be interrupted by. And then he's like, all right, whatever. And so off they go. They're gonna go in, or at least Rusty is gonna go in hiding here. So now they arrive in Central Park here, and they see the explosion, and so they're gonna go. But now you can see that they're being attacked by Avalanche, so they were not able to be involved in the battle with the X-Men and Oh my goodness, Nimrod. So, which was covered in X-Men 209, which was a great issue, by the way. It was full of action, and so totally check that out here. And so, um, Blob says, "We're federal officers, and you're harboring Rusty Collins, a known mutant and a criminal." And Mystique says, "We have a federal warrant for his arrest. Spiral, take him." And so here's Rusty, because they got him was as he was trying to make the way to them here. And so, and Spiral says, "I sense something nearby, an aura, a special power that I've long been seeking." And he says, "The boy is nothing to me. You'll deal with him yourselves." And with the waves of the hand, she is gone. And it says here, to learn where Spiral went and what else is going on in Central Park, see X-Men 209 on sale now. As I mentioned, I've already covered it, so we're kind of going back and forth. So she's going to go get Rachel Summers, the Phoenix. So very good detail from Louise Simonson here. So Cyclops says, "Well, Mystique, I see your troops are as disciplined as ever." And they're like, "Do we know him?" And they're Destiny's like, "I don't know. I can't see. There's a blind spot around that one. The probabilities break down around her. She's a nexus of probabilities around Jean, but..." And they're like, "Who are you?" And they're like, "Freedom Force." And Cyclops is like, "Freedom Force, ha. Everyone knows that they're the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants." I don't like the word evil because I don't think they would consider themselves evil. I think they would just be the Brotherhood of Mutants. And so, Jean, everyone, use your force guns to take them. And so they do here. And of course, that, by the way, that force gun was Jean Grey's telekinesis. And so, of course, the crowd is like on X Factor's side. They're like, "More muties attacking X Factor. Let's get them. You nuts? They look dangerous. They say they're feds. Let X Factor handle them." And so Jean tells tells Rusty to get the heck out of here. And so Blob has the warrant here, and suddenly it goes on fire. And how did that happen? Because did Pyro do it, or did Rusty do it? And either way, he uses that flame to divert it back to X Factor. And so they continue here, and Rusty's trying to get away, but he's caught by Spider Woman. But soon Skids rescues him and grabs him. And Spider Woman says, "Let's see how you fare against some old fashioned deadly force." And so he grabs her. Oh, this isn't her first appearance. She was with the Morlocks. I forgot. I, ugh, I Oh, I forgot. She was last issue was her first appearance. My bad. And you people hearing this are probably going, "Yeah, Jose, duh." Anyway, so Skids is able to skids away from people, so she gets out, and the people are like, "Oh my God, it's another mutie," and bet there's a reward after her, and Mystique's like, "Excellent. We'll let the humans be our hounds. As for X Factor, Avalanche, see what can be you can do to take their minds off the boy." And so Avalanche moves the Earth away, and so Freedom Force walks away. And so they're like, "They're gone, but they're right here." And so um anyway, Jean says, "But Warren, the Brotherhood of Mutants is working for the government. Hard to credit, isn't it? Though I fear they were telling the truth." And Cyclops says, "Well, we'll find them. We'll find Rusty. Come on, they went that way." Duh, they're right here. You know, Scott, if the Brotherhood of Mutants are the good guys, maybe being one of the bad guys wouldn't be so bad. And so he goes, "What's your name? Slow down." And he's like, "You want to be carried off by the mutant hunter?" Says Skids. "No, but wait, you saved me. Why?" And she says, I can't even touch your hand. She says, it's my force field. Nothing can touch me. And so he's like, you're a mutant like me? She says, what else? Come on, follow me. And so he says, anywhere. So he kind of likes her. So, all right. So they're running away from all the people. And now here is Trish Tilby. And she was doing the news, and Rusty and Skids go by them, but then so does everybody else. I like this as she's sitting down going, geez. And so, got 2 pages left here, and she tells him to Rusty to keep writing. She's gonna distract all the people, and then she goes, boo, oh, and then they start throwing stuff at her, but remember, they can't hit her, they can't do anything here. And regardless, Rusty still goes back for her. And she's like, I couldn't let you face this alone. But then the fire comes from. Oh, I'm sorry. The warning. I forgot. He's a fire guy. Oh my God. See, I haven't done a video in like 3 weeks because I work ahead of time, and I totally forgot. Oh my God. Remember when I said, how the heck did that thing get on fire? Duh. Rusty's fire powers. And so Rusty uses his powers to scare the crowd, but remember Avalanche or Pyro, and Mystique turns into Uncle Sam here. And she says, Uncle Sam has something special planned for you. And so in the last panel here, B says, a girl grabbed Rusty, but who and why and where the heck is she? And Iceman says, at least the mutant battle they called us to stop is over. We've got enough problems already. And Cyclops says, after I jumped on him, Rusty still came here to try to warn us. If anything happens to him, I'll have no one to blame but myself. Absolutely, Cyclops, you are 100%. So next issue, Magneto. Yes, I said Magneto, not Magneto. Plus X Factor, all out fight with Freedom Force. Don't miss it. So, all right, and this is actually a nice panel. Marc Silvestri will do next issue's cover, but he won't do the inside. But we are nearing to where Marc Silvestri will be taking over Uncanny X-Men in roughly, I believe he does 220. So from 220 on, Marc Silvestri will do. So 10 issues away from where I'm at currently at X-Men. So, all right, X Factor 8. By Louise Simonson, Marc Silvestri with Josef Rubinstein. Or Rubinstein. Like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Sorry, I had like I said, I had forgotten about Rusty and Skids, and it just the break I took was a little probably extensive. So anyway, thanks for listening. Goodbye.